Hello, everybody. My name is John Manganero. I'm a senior reporter with the Daily Upside, as well as the Retirement Upside, our brand new retirement-focused newsletter that's coming to you every Friday morning. We're coming at you live from the Future Proof Citywide Conference here in beautiful Miami Beach. I can literally see the ocean right behind the camera. Today, for this interview, I'm joined by John Love, who's the president and CEO of USCF Investments. John, thanks for being here. First of all, what do you think of Future Proof? It's a pretty impressive event.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, you just said it, the ocean's right here and you got a breeze. So yeah, you can't beat that. Fantastic. And the attendees, it's a great conference on all respects.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I think this is my third Future Proof. So I've got, I'm used to the sand under our feet at a conference. It's a very special thing.
I don't want to work any other way.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot we're going to talk about, but I want to start by rewinding and just if you could reflect on the 2 decades of experience you guys have had sort of democratizing commodities, futures, investments for the marketplace. Could you tell us about that mission and how it's evolved since, some of your early initiatives in the mid 2000s?
Yeah. So when we launched, we were one of the, I think, first 300 ETFs, USO. There weren't that many ETFs yet. So we were really bringing something new to the space. And we continue to do that with our other commodity ETFs. We had the first we call it the third generation commodity index where we were finding a new way to invest. And, but as, there's been, more, the ETF industry has grown so much, sort of that, new things that we were giving access to, like it's harder to find. So now it's kind of coming up with either what really, can we give to investors that they don't have now that nobody's done yet, or what maybe combination of things could we do in a new way? So I think it's largely looking at new ways to do things, whether that's product structure or, the investment strategy itself. And so it'll be interesting. It's not just us, but the whole industry, what'll happen in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, no doubt. Pretty amazing to think back at that time, 300 ETFs. I mean, how far we've come. It's amazing. Yeah. We're here at Future Proof. It's an AI focused conference. So I'm curious for your thoughts about what AI might mean for USCF, what it might not mean, what are the benefits, what are some of the risks? What are you thinking about?
So, from an investment standpoint, I mean, there's 2 things. There's obviously, and we've had it for, decades, really, people using AI, early AI to develop investment strategies that will continue. I don't know that we've ever seen, unless you're, one of the big, hedge funds where you've got massive resources, that anybody's going to come up with my AI agent is going to outinvest everybody else. I think maybe it's going to do it faster, maybe, and you automate things, but it's going to be, your AI agent and it's my AI agent. It's really, still going to be people with the resources that develop those strategies. On the other end of things, there's the operational side. And I think that's going to create efficiencies. I wish that would come faster. But I do think that will eventually, we'll find new ways to do things that make things easier and hopefully cheaper to do. Right now, operationally, we're still trying to integrate it. I think everybody is. And everybody knows there's things that can do. It's great to aggregate information, but you still have to check it. It's great for summarizing things and all of that, but yeah, it's still a growing thing. So we'll see what it brings.
Yeah, no question. I feel like we're going to learn a lot here. All the vendors, all the presentations about artificial intelligence. There's certainly a lot to learn.
I might walk away with a different answer. So.
Yeah, of course. And it's interesting to me to think just about the continuing role of financial advisors and the human element. That will really never be replaced by AI, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, that part won't go away.
Yeah. I want to talk now about the energy transition. For a long time, we've talked about the transition from sort of fossil fuel-based economy to a greener economy. In recent years, that conversation has evolved, I think it's fair to say. What are your thoughts about that and what it means for USCF and how you deliver value to investors in a fast-changing world?
Yeah, so the politics side of it, it certainly has. It changed a lot last year. There was sort of I don't know if you call it an interruption in the narrative, but it's kind of ironic because some of these metals like lithium had a couple of bad years while everybody was saying, hey, we're transitioning. And then lithium had a great 2025, even when investor sentiment was maybe a little against some of the electrification and all of that. So I don't think it's changed. We've been a proponent for a long time that you need energy from everything. We have got to, and that was before the AI story came along. You need energy from, unfortunately, fossil fuels still, but we also know that you need energy from new sources. So that's why we have funds that we released a copper fund in 2011. And, that was more towards the old traditional economy, but copper has become a key part of electrification. And we've released a battery metals, electrification metals ETF, ZSB, that's been in the marketplace for a couple of years. So we kind of look at it as a barbell strategy where we have traditional energy on one end and we have new energy in the form of these metals and some other commodities on the other side of it.
Yeah. What I find fascinating is the difference between perhaps the public narrative and the underlying performance of certain commodities. You have to look under the hood. You can't just take the news headlines and run with them. Super interesting. What insights can you share about perhaps digital commodities, things like Bitcoin, whether or not you think it is? What are the potential roles of cryptocurrencies and potentially the blockchain? Things like this, they're sort of the digital commodities, some might say. What are your thoughts?
I don't consider them commodities. I actually wrote an article last year you can find on our website where I said, here's all the reasons it's not. It's a different asset class and it's already got a name, crypto. I know some people have merged it with some commodity strategies, and that's fine, but I wouldn't call that a pure commodity play. And there's a number of reasons for it. The one thing that changed is it looks like they will be regulated by the CFTC. So now you have sort of the same regulatory regime, but in every other respect, correlations, what they are, all of that. I mean, commodities, I've got this piece of copper here, but that's a commodity. This is Bitcoin. So, but saying that, it's not to disparage Bitcoin. It's just a classification thing. I do think it's its own asset class in a diversified portfolio. There's a place for it. Investors, believe in it. I think 10 years from now, it'll be very different than it is now. We'll see what is in the lead. Is Bitcoin still the predominant digital currency, or something else rise up that we don't even know about? And the technology itself, as you said, is going to change things. And I think that'll start to accelerate. It's taken probably longer than people had expected, but when it starts to happen, I think people will be surprised.
Yeah, it's well said for sure. Finally, I'm just curious, what other macro or micro trends you're tracking? It's an interesting time for investors right now. What comes to mind?
Well, I think we're in I don't know if I would call it a commodity super cycle. A lot of people don't like that term, but if you look over the last 100 or so years, there've been a couple of times half dozen times when commodities have really outperformed. And since 2021, commodities have been moving up. We think there's such a demand for stuff. I mean, it's not just the AI story, but there really is this need for things. There hasn't been investment in a lot of commodities. There have been supply disruptions. We're seeing this now with oil, what's going on. So we think commodities probably have a bright future for the next 5 to 10 years at least. And I think they always belong in an asset allocation. That's not to say they couldn't go longer, but we seem to maybe be in a new cycle here where that demand may pick up and we might have some long-term benefits having commodities in a portfolio.
Yeah, you can't just turn on the supply with the flip of a switch. Yep. Excellent. Well, John, it's a very interesting discussion. I appreciate you taking time to sit down with us here at the Future Proof Conference. We're going to take some time and enjoy the rest of the day, all the sessions, and I think we'll both learn something new about AI, and maybe we'll have to connect afterwards and see if your answer changed.
Sounds good. All righty. Thank you very much.